Curious facts that will change your perception of time. Would you believe that the University of Oxford is older than the Aztecs? Or, what Warner Brothers was founded when the Ottoman Empire still existed? Take a look at these data that will make you rethink the notion that we have of time. If you are over 45 years old, the world population doubled during your existence. In the year of 1968, the world population was 3,557,000,000. Currently, the world population is approaching 7,220.292,000 and growing at an impressive rate of 200,000 units per day. The last time the Chicago Cubs won a World Series, women were not allowed to vote. The Chicago Cubs slump dates back to 1908, when they won their second World Series. Women in the USA acquire the vote in 1920. Betty White is older than sliced bread. Otto Frederick Roeder invented sliced bread in 1928, while Betty White was born in 1922. The bread had existed before, only not in the form of slices. The birth of the oldest person in the world is closer to the date on which the U.S. Constitution was signed. Misao Okawa was born in Japan on March 5, 1896, 116 years ago. The Constitution of It was signed in 1787. This assumes that its date of birth is 4 years closer to the date on which the U.S. Constitution was signed, than today's date. The fax machine was invented at a time when many people still moved in carts. The first fax machine was developed by Alexander Bain in 1843, meanwhile the Great Migration began throughout America. John Tyler, the 10th President of the United States, still has 2 grandchildren alive. John Tyler served his term as President of the United States between 1841 and 1845. At the age of 63 he had his son Lyon. Lyon in turn would become the father of Lyon Jr. and Harrison at age 71 and 75, respectively. Both are still alive with more than 80 years of life. Harvard University was founded before derivative calculations were created. Harvard is the oldest institution of higher education in the USA, founded in 1636. Calculus was not obtained until the 17th century, with the work of Gottfried Leibniz and Isaac Newton. Everything in this old Radio Shack ad is on a smartphone. Gordon Moore, co-founder of Intel, said that throughout the history of computing, the number of transistors in circuits doubles approximately every 2 years. Moore's law has been true for more than 40 years and successfully predicted our incredible breakthrough in mobile technology. Every 2 minutes, we take more photos than all of humanity took between the years 1800 and 1900. The photograph on the left was the first one taken in the year 1826, and portrays the view of Le Gras, France, from the window of inventor Joseph Nicephore Niepce. The photo on the right shows a cat who accidentally took a photo of himself in 2013. It is estimated that in 2014 humans will take a total of 880 billion photographs. When Warner Brothers was founded, the Ottoman Empire still existed. Brothers Harry, Albert, Sam and Jack Warner founded the WB in the year 1903. The Ottoman Empire existed between 1299 and 1923, when Turkey became an independent nation. There are live whales that were born before Moby Dick was written. The Greenland whale or boreal whale that lives near Alaska can reach up to 200 years of age. Some of them were born before the classic of literature, Moby Dick, was written in 1851. There are more years of separation between Stegosaurus and Tyrannosaurus rex than between Tyrannosaurus rex and humans. Stegosaurus lived around 150 million years ago, whereas Tyrannosaurus rex lived 67 million years ago. That is to say, there is a lapse of time of 83 million years between these two species, 16 million years more than between the Tyrannosaurus rex and the human race. Will Smith is now older than Uncle Phil when he became Prince of Bel-Air. James Avery, Uncle Phil, was 45 years old when he started making the Prince of Bel-Air. And now Will Smith is over 45 years old. Cleopatra lived closer to the construction of the first Pizza Hut than the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built in the vicinity of the year 2560 BC, While Cleopatra VII lived around 30 BC, the first restaurant of Pizza Hut opened its doors in 1958, about 500 years closer to the existence of the Empress. There is more processing power in a TI-83 calculator than in the computer that took man to the moon. The computer responsible for the Apollo 11 mission systems operated at 1024 MHz, about 1/6 of the processing power of a TI-83 calculator from Texas Instruments. In only 66 years, humanity went from going by plane for the first time to being able to reach the moon. In 1903, the Wright brothers were able to fly for the first time, keeping a plane in the air for 59 seconds. After 38 years, the Japanese used the photo to bomb Pearl Harbor. And in just 28 more years, it was possible for Apollo 11 to be terrorized on the moon. France still executed people in guillotines when Star Wars was released. Star Wars premiered in U.S. theaters in May 1977. The last execution by guillotine known in France took place on September 10 of the same year. The last unfortunate to die in this way in that country was a man named Hamida Jandaobai. If the history of the Earth were to be represented in just 1 year, modern humans would appear on December 31 at 11:58 p.m. Historians and scientists affirm that human beings have lived on Earth a mere 0.004% of their history. When the pyramids of Egypt were built, the mammoths were still walking on the Earth. Almost all the mammoths died before the first human civilizations appeared, but there was a small group that survived around 1650 after Christ. At that time the pyramids were already 1,000 years old and the Egyptian civilization had 1,000 left to disappear. The University of Oxford is older than the Aztec Empire. The teachings in Oxford began in the year 1096, and in 1249 the university was officially founded. While the Aztec civilization as we know it began with the founding of Tenochtitlan around 1325.